The intent of this webinar is just to spread some advice and some information about how you and your organizations may be able to participate in National Manufacturing Day. Out of the Box has participated. Kirk was just asking me before we started the webinar here. I think our first event was in 2014. So we've been doing it every year since then, with the exception of COVID years. So always, it's one of my favorite things to do. And I'm really happy with the program, and I want to spread the word as much as possible. And those of you that, we do workforce development things together, you've probably heard me mention National Manufacturing Day ad nauseum. So thank you for being here again. First, before we get started though, I want to thank CAMPS, Center for Advanced Manufacturing of Puget Sound, for hosting this webinar. So Stacy and Jody are CAMP staff. I get to work with them as the president of the board of directors for the organization as well. So if you are not a CAMPS member, I highly encourage you trying that out. You can go to joincamps.com to see the information for that. Was that right, Jody? Joincamps.com? Yeah? Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. So then if we're all good to go, I am going to go ahead and share my screen. Just a quick video, like, what is Manufacturing Day? And it's actually a partnership between the Manufacturing Institute, the state MEPs. So there's quite a few players involved here, but I'll play you a quick video from the Manufacturing Day website.
Every year,
just kidding, hold on.
America's creators, doers, and makers open their doors so more Americans can see what modern manufacturing in America is all about. Creativity, teamwork, discovery, making a difference. Your Manufacturing Day invitation is here.
Now that is the video, obviously, from last year. They don't have a lot of their 23 media up just yet, but it is coming. So what is National Manufacturing Day? It is the first Friday of every October, and it is, as the video mentioned, an opportunity for employers to open their doors and invite the community into their facilities so that people can see what it's like to work in a manufacturing environment. I think that we have a challenge in dispelling the myth that manufacturing is dirty, dangerous, and dumb. Really, though, we just want educators and students and even parents to have the opportunity to come in and see our facilities, because it always blows people away. If I had a dime for every time someone came on a tour of our shop and said, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea this type of cool stuff was done in the United States." It is, and we all have really great processes in our facilities, and we want to share that information. So why do we participate? I was able to snag some slides. Sarah Stewart from Impact Washington did a really great presentation a couple months ago. So I asked her if she didn't mind if I snag these slides from her, because I think it really points to the reason why we need to do this. We all know unemployment is historically low and production rates are actually historically high. So we have this mismatch between wanting to build a lot of things in the United States, but struggling with how to do it with the lack of workforce participation, coupled with the fact that not a lot of young people want to consider manufacturing as a career choice. And many of our industries, you would not, this was a little surprising for me, you wouldn't guess, but a lot of us are competing for the same type of applicant. So healthcare, hospitality, retail, manufacturing, government, construction, we're all kind of looking at that same individual to fill our shops. So if we want to be snagging those talented young people away from, the hospitality industry, for example, or the retail industry, for example, we need to participate in events like this to show them how cool it is to work in a manufacturing technology company. Let's just go ahead and exacerbate the situation as well by pointing out the fact that population growth is expected to take a bit of a nosedive here over the coming decades. So we have to be more efficient and find more talented individuals to join our teams so that we can continue those really high rates of productivity that we saw on an earlier slide. So this proverb, of course, is very widely known, but the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So every year that you do a manufacturing day event, you are going to inspire more students in future years to consider manufacturing as a career choice. And I will say the first couple of years that I did manufacturing events did not lead to any direct hires, but led to a lot of interest and a lot of schools coming back year after year. Since then, though, I will say that those seeds have been planted, and we now employ part-time high school students on a regular basis. We usually have between 2 and 5 high school students or apprentices in our facility at any given time. So you can kind of look around your shop and pick those spots that are a great place for students to start. Generally, we start students out in packaging, right? It's not anything really related to product conformity, but gives them the opportunity to touch and feel and see, just be exposed to a lot of different types of circuit board assemblies. Okay, so then we did the why, right? How does Out of the Box do a manufacturing day event? So first, I would say the number one piece of advice that I can give any of you that are considering either attending or putting on your own event is to engage with schools early and often. I don't know who decided Manufacturing Day was going to be the first Friday in October, but maybe not the best month. In October, schools are just getting back into the swing of things. You know, they've been there for a month, maybe, right? So if you are trying to connect with the CTE department in school districts in September, they are way too busy at that point, right? So I will usually start reaching out to people in May or June of the prior year and inviting them and asking them, you know, save the date, that sort of thing. Interactive tours are the best. So I don't know about your guys' facilities, but at Out of the Box, we build a lot of really small things, right? So a tour is really best kept to about 10 to 12 individuals. If you get any more than that, it gets really hard to see the product and what's going on at the machines. So we developed a kind of staged tour system where I will engage, you know, usually 4 or 5 members of the management team, and we'll take turns starting a tour of students about every 15 minutes. So we're rotating students through shop tours, and then we have an area set up on our shop floor kind of out of the way where we can do hands-on activities. You can see in this photo up here, we had some students looking at circuit boards and parts through a microscope. We invite members of our supply chain. This gentleman here actually works for a company called Prototron, and they make the PCB fabs, right? So we put the parts on it, they make the PCB fab. So he brought all of the different layers. It's like a step-by-step process of how a PCB is created. And then we will usually invite a manufacturer's rep so you can see the actual parts that go on the board. We'll invite a customer, you know, so that students can actually see what the end product looks like. So really trying to give a space that students can do fun and interesting things while they're waiting for their tour to start, or as they're coming back and they're waiting for the rest of their classmates to come back around. So when we invite a school, we usually give them about an hour and a half in our shop to rotate those tours. So really not a ton of time, right? Let's see what else. Oh, hands-on activities. So one of the other things that we did one year was create, we made simple circuits with conductive thread on a piece of felt. And it was just a coin battery and an LED. So just a, you know, something for students to do, making that circuit. I also have a couple packs of snap circuits. It's a game. Students love to play around with those, and you can make something sing or make it turn on lights or program lights or whatever. So just again, all these different things for people to touch and feel. You can also pick a product that young people care about. I was mentioning before, Aaron Davis is on the call here, and he's one of our customers. His company is called Fast Pinball, and they make really cool pinball machines. They buy the rights to retro games and they rebuild them. And being able to connect the dots on something that's relatable for young people, you know, it's not just this circuit board that goes into a random device, right? It's actually a thing that they understand, I think makes a deeper connection as well. And in addition to inviting your supply chain members, your educators in your school, invite members of the community. There's been a couple of years where we've had other businesses come and tour our shop next to the high school students, you know, go on the tour with everybody, just because they were curious about how to do the tours themselves, you know. So I would strongly encourage, don't limit yourself to teachers and students. Invite community members in as well so that they can see. And then how do we create touch points after the tour is over? One thing that we did last year when we hosted an event was we had made little cards that had QR codes on them. So we sent them home with students. We had stickers with the QR codes on them, but it connected students to a special website that we had created. And I'll just take you here real fast. So some video links to different organizations that we know have training programs, a link to our application, and then pictures from events in prior years. So just kind of bringing it full circle and making that final connection. You can also go to manufacturingday.com, mfgday.com. This is going to be a great place to get started if you're looking for resources. So they're going to have all your logos. They've got a media package. You can register your event so that, you know, people that are local that are actually looking for events can find you and they can attend as well. So lots of good information here on mfgday.com. Okay, and I think that was, yep. Oh, here we go. So what's next? Hold on, let me restart this. There we go. So check out that manufacturingday.com, make connections with the CTEs at your local high schools, and then establish a timeline of event communication. So like I said, like June, August, September, a lot of educators don't check email during the summer, of course, right? But once it gets, someone had told me, once it gets closer to, you know, mid-August, then educators are starting to look at emails again, and plan for the future years. So you can plant that reminder there in August. And then of course, in September, you're a couple weeks out, you want to touch base and make sure. One of the biggest barriers that I have encountered to actually getting students to my facility for tours has been busing. So students are on board, educators are on board, but they can't get the buses in order to get students here. So if you might be able to think creatively about how to tackle that problem ahead of time, that's something that you can consider as well. So logistics as well. Do you have parking space for buses at your facility? I've been asked before if students can eat lunch at our facility, you know, if they're going to brown bag it or whatever. And then the last and certainly not least, but consider whether or not you need to let your customers know that you're going to have a bunch of students in your building. I know at Out of the Box, we sometimes have sensitive projects going on our floor. So if there is something going on your floor and you need to remove that product, or it's better safe than sorry to just ask your customer, then you should probably do that. Now, we generally will, we have little traveler tags on all the jobs on our shop floor. We turn those around anyways so that students can't see customer names, part numbers, etc. And we have the benefit that it's really not obvious if you look at a product what that product is, because we're manufacturing circuit board assemblies, but still give your customers the opportunity to opt out if they need to. Okay, that's what I've got for you guys. Short and sweet. Questions?
So Allison, just to share, last year during Manufacturing Day, the Center of Excellence, NWAC, and the Spokane Valley Chamber sponsored a bus, a tour bus. It wasn't a school bus, because the school buses, you know, are taken up, or there's issues relating to insurance or whatever.
Right.
But the tour bus was covered. So was a great big pizza party during the trip.
Oh, neat.
We went to 3 different manufacturing facilities, and my company produced a video of the event so that they could market it this year. So I just share with you just kind of the format that, you know, maybe there's a sponsor that can sponsor a tour bus. I don't know what the cost was. You'd have to talk to Jason at Center of Excellence, but it worked out really good. We had probably, well, the bus was full, so 40, 50 students, and they were totally engaged at all 3 different manufacturing facilities, taking notes, asking questions. It was a very fun and fruitful event.
That is awesome. I really love that idea, Dean. Gosh, yeah. What we have a banking relationship with Columbia Bank. And now that you say that, I recall they had sponsored a portion of our event one year and provided food. So that's certainly a way to connect with your own network to see if you can help cover costs for some of those logistics type items. I like that a lot.
If you ever watched 40 high school kids dive into pizza, just watch your hands.
Get out of the way.
Nice.
What are the thoughts we have? Yeah, Aaron, go ahead.
I got some. So, you know, with fast pinball, I mean, where there's like 4 core people, and we're all remote, so we all work out of our houses. And I don't love working from home, but I make do. But one of the things that we're doing, so we go to different pinball shows like around the country. Basically, take a trailer full of stuff, dump it out there, and you know, a lot of what we do gets down to like hardware emulation and stuff like that, where we're actually emulating ancient processors to run old ROM code on it in new modern ways, which we think is super cool. Most people, like, conceptually, they're like, I just want to play the game. So we've been able to do a lot of pretty cool things. And so what we've done is we've taken like games to shows where traditionally, like, I mean, I'll just show you real quick because it's relevant. Like, you know, I got a row of pinball machines here, and there's this artwork across the front there. That's what's hiding all the circuit boards and stuff like that inside there. So if you're just playing the game, you have no idea, like, you know, what's inside of it. But if you do know what's inside of it, like, we were putting clear translights on there with just like some information on it, so you can actually see inside that it's modern electronics inside of it. So all of a sudden people are going, oh, this doesn't feel slow and laggy and virtualized, because we tuned the hardware and software to be like so on it. So what we've been doing is we go to like these shows, we drag all the stuff out there and just let people play it. And, you know, we've been doing this for years, and it's, you know, it was really more of a social thing where people from all over the world who build with our products, like, you know, get together in certain cities and hang out, you know. But what was really interesting this last go around, and I attribute some of this to being everyone locked down for a while and coming back out into the real world. We were in Chicago for an event, and we had one group who came up to meet with us who was like, you know, we weren't going to come all the way from, they were in South Carolina or something like that, to the show, but we heard you guys were actually going to be here. And we've seen all your videos, read all your docs and stuff like that, but we just want to like kind of be here and ask you the questions we don't know how to ask. And I think that we've definitely found that a lot of our users and potential users, we've definitely found that they want that engagement. They want some sort of way to actually like get together and, like you were saying, Allison, like hands-on with some things. Like, you know, with the pinball space, you know, it's all physical. It's a physical experience. So finding ways to let people kind of bridge that gap between like a big idea and then what's physically in front of them is a big thing. So what we've started to do is we've been involved in the Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show that happens in Tacoma every year in June. And so it's like the first weekend in June usually. We had been trying to bring in a more like technical experience. Our previous chairman, who passed away recently, was really pushing for like, you know, let's make our show like the tech show, the like, you know, the maker show, showing people if you're going to innovate or create things, like you should come here, as opposed to all the other shows where you can just go play games. And it worked well because it was in our backyard. And so what we're testing out this year is kind of like a starting point is we want to do what we call like a pinball developer conference. Like each year, parallel that with our show so that people coming to town can add a day on front or back or something like that and have a more immersive experience. So we worked out with the hotel that's attached some space, and we're going to be doing just like kind of a meetup on Saturday night to kind of kick this thing off. But then we have a booth space that's all wall off. We're doing like a mini theater, and we're just going to use all the different people that have worked on homebrew projects is what they call, like people who build their own machine at home. But then there's software guys, engineers, like, people from all over, it's basically a STEM class in a box, but all the people that are like involved in these things, we're going to be doing these kind of sit and go short presentations, like come up for 20 minutes and talk about like, you work in SolidWorks, or you work, you're using Eagle, or you're a software person, or you cut wood, or whatever that is. So we're kind of testing that whole experience out, but it was definitely about like, since we're all remote, it was a great way to get everybody in the same place at the same time. And so we want to work with the local schools as a way to say, like, it's the end of the school year. We've gotten to know the different schools and some of in my area down in Gig Harbor. But the idea of bringing people out for hands-on experience wrapped in a fun pinball arcade show is like not a hard sell. So I think that like we're really trying to emphasize the tech end of it too.
For
So
sure.
I love this maker stuff.
Yeah, and one of the other things, so maybe I mentioned before, maybe October is not the best time, right, for you or for your organization. So we can be flexible and think about what makes sense for different timing. I really like that, Erin. Terry, I want to move over to you because I see you've had your hand up for a minute.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you. I want to reiterate that we really appreciate it in the school districts that you open your facilities to our students. It really helps them connect learning to their future. And like Allison said, having something hands-on is fantastic for them. They really become engaged. And also, if you are providing food for them, please be aware, pizza is fantastic, but many districts, especially ours, has people that are vegan or because of their religion, cannot eat pork because of their religion. So have something other than pizza, like fruit or something that most people can eat. We always don't catch it and bring a special lunch for them, but that is something to be aware of. I know that other school districts have the same situation, but we especially do.
That's a really great point. Thank you, Terry.
Mhm.
I see some other educational institutions here on the call, and I wonder if you have any feedback about what you would, like Terry said, reiterating how neat it is to have a hands-on experience, but what would the educational community be looking for in an event like this?
I think you kind of nail it, Allison, the hands-on, the just letting them explore and see things. I think the hard thing, but you also mentioned doing it on a different day. Unfortunately, Kent, it looks like our teacher workshop day is on manufacturing day. So being open to maybe the 5th is manufacturing day in the Kent area, or finding ways. And I also like, Erin, as I was writing your name down and then you said Gig Harbor and I'm in Kent, but
okay.
Like I'm like, can you come to our physics classroom? So, coming into our buildings, well, it's not the kids seeing that. Busing is really hard for us. Getting field trip forms back is really hard for us. Even when they're excited about the field trip, it's hard. So when you can come to us too, in some ways, that's really beneficial. And I know, Allison, we've talked about if you're a small company, that's not always spending a day in a school, but yeah. So
I mean, I've got 3 teenage boys, so
yeah.
I'm up in schools all the time anyways. And
Okay.
one of my kids actually runs all our 3D printers and stuff like that here. So it's an experience that, like, we have birthday parties and stuff who come here, at the house and stuff like that. And so eventually gets that. And again, this is my house. I'm in a 3-car garage.
Well, that's what I was like. Field trip to your house, we're in.
Well, when they do these birthday parties, eventually one of the kids comes up and goes, "Mr. Davis, can we go out to your shop?" And then it's a flood and they're all out there under the microscopes and building things and messing with the printers and stuff like that. So that student experience thing is something that can definitely be tuned. I mean, it's freaking pinball. I've got one that folds up in a cube and rolls on a cart, So just being able to see hardware and software control things is a really cool experience. So I'd be definitely open to something like that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, kids only know what they see, right? And so they need to see it, and they know the job or what they hear, what their parents do in their families. A lot of them come to me and they'll say, "I want to be a doctor." Well, why do you want to be a doctor? Well, my cousin is, like, okay, well, do you know what they do? I mean, they know what they do, but like how you get to that. And they're like, no, well, just getting yourselves in front and showing what you do is so important so that they know the opportunities and how it connects to things they enjoy. Like they enjoy physics class or 3D modeling or whatever it is. Like, how do you connect to that? Because if they're happy in that class and you show them they can do something with it, they're super excited.
So Allison, can I share a couple thoughts real quick here?
Please.
So I'm not a manufacturer, I'm a publisher. So I publish several magazines, one being Northwest Aerospace News Magazine. We've written about out-of-the-box manufacturing in the past. But about a year ago, I had a meeting with, I call it alphabet soup, PNAA, AFA, PNDC, AFA, the whole group. And we were all talking about the whole workforce situation. And the conversation was around retention and making sure you're don't have a toxic work environment and so forth. And I said, well, I'm not hiring machinists. I said, but I write about them. I write about the manufacturing industry. Everybody that makes parts that go on an airplane, we write their stories. Electronics, composites, whether it's military, drone, new space technology, commercial aerospace, we try to cover all the bases. And I said, there's no reason why we can't start sending out subscriptions. It's free, by the way. If you go to northwestaerospacenews.com, it'll say subscribe free, to high school and college students who are wondering, where am I going to go when I graduate? Not all of them are going to go to four-year schools. Many of them aren't going to go to college after graduation. And so we want to give them the opportunity to see the manufacturing facilities. Primarily our market is aerospace, but to see the manufacturing facilities and the opportunities, because we have all the contact information, how to get a hold of ABC company or out of the box manufacturing and so forth. So to the educators online, northwestaerospacenews.com, all spelled out. There's subscribe free. I'm happy to have students who are interested in the industry subscribe. It'll mail 6 times a year to their home address. And then as a part of that same meeting, we had, the alphabet soup says we got to start reaching them earlier. And so we created a new magazine. When I was a kid, I used to get Highlights magazine, and that was always fun, word search, and can you spot the differences and all that sort of thing. So we've created basically highlights for aerospace, and it's called Let's Go Aerospace, and it's designed to reach middle school. Now I'm kind of pigeonholing it by saying middle school, but I've had parents, kids as young as like 8 years old all the way up to 17 years old love the magazine. So we've printed a little over 10,000 magazines so far and distributed to school systems and after school programs. And we're just working on issue number 3. We launched it in January. So obviously the need is there, the enthusiasm is there, and you're sure welcome to visit our website. It's letsgoaerospace.com. And so that's what we're trying to do to help inspire youth to consider advanced manufacturing. But also, like I said, those high school and college kids, I was one of them. It was like, I wanted to go into broadcasting when I was, in high school, and it took several decades before I ever got there. But, I don't have a 4-year degree. It just wasn't me. And, started a business out of a garage and grew it from there. But, if we can help reach those.
I can relate to that story.
Yeah, right there with you, man.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that's what we have that I'm willing to help and share.
Thanks, Dean. That is so awesome. I get both magazines, by the way, and they are really great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. I just put both of those on my open tab, so I'll come back to them.
Great. Let's see. Any other questions or thoughts from the group here?
Thank you for hosting this, being a leader in this.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I think it's one of those things that seems like a really heavy lift, but with a couple of key pieces of advice, it becomes, of course, it's a busy day, right? Anytime you've got 150 students coming through your shop in a day, it's a busy day, but it's so much fun. It really is. And it's so inspiring. And I just love, even if there's a group of 25 high school students and there's a couple of them that walk away with stars in their eyes, I mean, we've done what we needed to do, right? Carol, I see you came off of mute.
Oh yeah, I was just going to add, and you mentioned it a couple times, is just the collaboration aspect of Manufacturing Day. It is, everyone's super busy, but if a few manufacturers and or school districts can come together, we just finished a large event at the Amtech Center, which is part of Everett Community College. We had 500 students, 6 different school districts, 14 different manufacturers come through on a 3-day event. It was very successful. The minute she promotes it, the school districts, there's always a waiting list. And it's a big effort, but the fact that there's several involved, it makes it, I think, more doable.
Yeah.
So I just encourage, the manufacturers, and it's great that you host, Allison, in your facility, and you bring in other manufacturers. Impact Washington is a resource to help in any way that we can. Buy the pizza. I'm willing to entertain ideas about bus systems. What that may look like across the state. But yeah, collaboration is key to getting these students either into our facility or our facilities to the students.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate
Carol,
that.
I got a quick question for you. Did you give away all 300?
I did not give away all 300. Many students took the magazine. I'm going to take the rest up to my local middle school and high schools.
Awesome.
I'm going to drop those off. Yeah. Our high school here in Woodinville has an aviation program, so I'm going to take some up there. Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to share, I was able to go to Out of the Box last year for Manufacturing Day and just kind of walk along, and they were so excited. I think that was just seeing their faces and seeing what Allison shared, and such a great experience. Like you said, planting the seeds and just showing them what's behind those doors. Because, manufacturing doesn't seem that interesting. I have 2 kids and they were like, what's that? They think of the conveyor belt doing the same monotonous work day after day. And just that sharing that piece with them. And I kept hearing all day was, oh my gosh, that's cool. So, and kind of see what they're making instead of in being able to touch it. I just think it was so amazing. So thank you, Allison, for including camps on your event. And I look forward to this year too.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jody. That's really good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got to give Allison a compliment. Like, one of the things about Out of the Box, I've been to a lot of spaces that build stuff and everything. And one of the first takeaways I had there was walking the floor, everybody's smiling, and that's a really good indicator of how miserable is it here? And the answer is it's not, everybody, I've spent a lot of time on the floor there building stuff, testing things as they come off the line to get it out. So I've got to kind of sit around there where people forget I'm even there. So it's not just in presentation mode to hey, somebody's on the floor, act up. It's awesome. And I've gone up there to pick up stuff and had one of my kids with me who were just like, can I just go one time around, just go look around? And so I've tried to sneak people in. I hope I don't get anybody in trouble, but drag one of my kids through just to go look and see the lines and stuff like that. Cause my middle son is like a little maker. He 3D prints animal earrings and sells them on the Etsy store now. He's got more disposable income than I do right now, which is hilarious. But just to see that, if you can think of something and then see it realized and then see it getting built, you don't need to do every part of the process to see the part you want to see come to life actually exists. So it is really cool to walk on the floor and see in a concise, a tight space. Here's what comes in the door, and here's what comes out the door. It really is mind blowing. And I think that, it's a hard thing to sell a kid on of let's go see this facility until you can see almost an idea going all the way through the other side. Yeah. So with the fast pinball stuff, it's easy because the kids see us modeling it, testing it, and then big boxes of it come through the other side. That really brings the whole picture together. So it's definitely cool. Yeah. Your place is awesome. I spent way too much time up there.
Thank you. And I was going to say too that, the other byproduct, a great byproduct of holding a Manufacturing Day event is if you can get your own employees involved as well. It's not just me that does the Manufacturing Day events. People take a lot of pride in telling young people about what they do and if they enjoy it, and so I think it's really rewarding for the rest of your staff to be involved.
Yeah. Just to maybe add on to what Erin and Allison you were saying is a lot of the students that came through on those 3 days, it was the first field trip that they've done since COVID. And so if you think about a lot of the middle school students, that was their first opportunity to get on a bus, go see a really cool technical center, and then talk with some manufacturers. They were very excited about the opportunity to get outside the school and go see something.
Yeah, for sure. I hadn't thought of it that way, Carol, but you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, that was all I had for you. If you want to reach out and, ask me any other questions, or I can share my resources with you or whatever, please do so. My email address is just allison@ovmfg.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn. Happy to partner with anybody that wants to give their own event a try.
Thanks, Allison.
Hey, yeah,
Thank
you. Stacy, you want to wrap us up?
Sure. If anyone wants to get involved, I think they can reach out to Jody or I, and we can help them maybe connect with the school, get them to the website, register their events, anything like that they need help with. And again, if you want to find out more about camps, go ahead and go to joincamps.com and kind of see a little bit about what we're doing, or our website too.
Great. Thank you. Cool. All right, everybody. I'll give you back a few minutes of your day. Thanks for making some time to learn about Manufacturing Day.